Alf, Geoff Wilson is saying that he made $4 million in sales revenue in the first 4 months of CardsHQ.
You take the card and put it in the sleeve.
What do you have to say? Alf is speechless. What's going on, sports card hobby friends? We are back again. It's another day, and you know what that means. It's another sports card video. How the heck are you guys doing?
I think I finally got some sleep.
Hopefully everybody is rested. Today we're going to talk about Geoff Wilson's video on the It's Geoff Wilson show last night, talking big numbers for the new store. Before we get started, huge thanks to today's video sponsor, Pristine Auction. Guys, not only do they have daily auctions, not only do they have 10-minute auctions, but now they've got live selling, so competing with the Whatnots and the Fanatics Lives of the world. And tomorrow, Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern, they're doing sports cards. And keep an eye on this. They're going to start doing this more and more. Next week, I assume there will be another schedule for live selling on Pristine Auction. There could be some sneaky buys over there. I've got a link down below, and if you use Sports Card Dad code, you get $10 off your first auction victory. Check out Pristine Auction. All right, so let's break this thing down. So he was sitting with one of his partners in the store, not both of them. I think the other one was sick, he said. They were talking through strategy, what's going right, what's not going right. First 4 months, $4 million of sales, and they are turning a profit if they break that down. Now, one thing to make clear, because I think some people might say, okay, but how much did the building cost, the build out and all that sort of thing? They're not including that piece. That's over here on the side. That's considered a capital expense and kind of more paid off long term. But I think what he's saying here is they've got monthly expenses, they've got monthly sales revenue, you subtract that, and they are turning a profit. My assumption here, and I actually think this is by design, is that they're turning a small profit. And the reason why I say that is when you look at this thing, $1 million a month, it might sound like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money, especially for a brand new store that just poof came out of nowhere. But their expenses have to be high on a monthly basis, not just the rent, but really when I'm looking at it, employees and payroll taxes add up quickly. I'm not going to pretend like I'm somebody that's run a huge retail business. I have not, so I don't have experience, but I do know there's payroll taxes on top of what you're paying folks. And then, of course, you got the utilities. You've got all the little things that add up on top of buying inventory. And just think about all the things that you need to keep everything going. And the inventory's got to be a tricky one because it's not as if you're just buying to, oh, okay, we're going to buy this amount of inventory so we have enough to sell for this week. I mean, you've got to buy tons of inventory all the time, and I'm sure you're probably just buying what comes available. In other words, if there's amazing deals on inventory coming in, you're not going to say, hey, we're going to hold off on this amazing inventory because this is our budget here for the week or 2 weeks, and we'll sell it first, and then we'll come back and buy more. No. There is a war right now for cardboard inventory, if you can believe that, between the repackers, the breakers, the sellers. Everybody is fighting for good singles inventory. And so this makes it a big challenge for a place like CardsHQ because in order for them to hit their goals, and Geoff mentioned here you've got $1 million a month, and the goal is really $2 million a month, so about double what they're doing now. Think about the number of cards, because they're also not doing the Burbank model where it's 25-cent cards, 50-cent cards, dollar cards. They're probably operating more in that $50 to $500 range as far as just kind of the retail sales goes. I would assume their average sale is probably higher than what a Burbank is, just simply because Burbank's going to do it in volume. They're going to do 1,000 cards at 25 cents each, and they're going to do it in pieces like that, whereas CardsHQ is set up to do volume, but not quite at a micro scale like that, at like a Burbank. So this will be, of course, an interesting case study for retail card shops, especially because Geoff is putting it all out there. Because Geoff is being forthright, coming out with what's happening. I don't know another card shop that's coming out and talking about their monthly revenue numbers or annual or whatever. And they don't have to. It's their business. It's private business. But this is kind of giving a inside view of one of the largest, if not the largest, card shops in the country, maybe in the world, and what they're doing kind of on a month-by-month basis. They're going to document this thing as it goes, which is pretty fun. So they want to be at $2 million a month. And the one thing I think that stood out from this conversation I thought was really interesting is they said that it's not as much on the live selling, the breaking, and the website, it's mostly retail sales in store, which did surprise me because I just assumed that would be the toughest way to sell is, you know, the old style of you're just kind of hoping that you have a good enough location where people are walking through the door. And really the only marketing that I've seen for CardsHQ is mostly through the YouTube channel and social media channels. So, and that's all great because it's free marketing if you're talking about, you know, IG stuff and YouTube stuff. And Jeff's done a good job of building that out. So the fact that they're getting a lot of sales from foot traffic, I think is a positive sign, because really where the opportunity lies, and we know this, just looking at how much money is generated on Whatnot, Fanatics Live, the live selling stream. I just mentioned Pristine Auction, doing live selling. Live selling is the thing right now.
We got a 1987 Fleer factory set.
And the fact that he's still kind of getting that going, getting scheduling, staffing, and that sort of thing. He did pick up that breaker. I'm drawing a blank on her name, but she was with another card shop that was down in Florida, and I believe she had relocated up to Atlanta. And I remember, very popular breaker that Jeff hired on, and I have to assume that was a big boost for those guys at CardsHQ, because she already had a following. She's popular on the breaking side for sports as well as non-sports type stuff. The one thing that he mentioned here, and again, I've talked about this before, but when you look at the number of Pokemon cards being graded by PSA and the other grading companies, SGC and so forth, it is staggering, the popularity of Pokemon. And he still says that they haven't really gotten to a point where they're running the Pokemon tournaments and they're having Pokemon events. If I was him and using his connections, I would try to get some of these Pokemon influencer folks to come to the store and run content around it and bring people into the store that way on the Pokemon TCG side. I would think, and again, I don't know the breakdown of his numbers when he's talking about these monthly revenue numbers, how much of it is TCG versus how much of it is sports. Because to me, the real big opportunity, especially because you have kids trade nights and all these things that are going on there, is TCG. And what happens is a lot of times, like with my youngest son, they graduate, whatever, to sports cards after Pokemon. So Pokemon is kind of a gateway into the trading card space. But man, and he did mention he's hiring an events coordinator. With that space, I would assume that you would want to have as many of these TCG events as possible, because the number of cards that are being graded are staggering for whatever reason. I don't understand it, but I don't need to understand it. Pokemon, a global phenomenon, I would think that would be really kind of the main crux of that store. And then sports cards, probably secondary to TCG. TCG is just so damn popular on its own. They don't even have serial numbered cards. When you think about all the new product that comes out for Pokemon, all the new product that sells out and people just buy it and buy it and buy it. Some are speculating on the sealed boxes. They're holding the sealed boxes. Others are opening them and it's just, oh my God, there's another Charizard from this. They literally will have like 10 releases. It's the same characters every time. And they just keep on selling it. They sell it, they sell it. It's absolutely incredible to me, the popularity of Pokemon. So if I was running that store, and again, I'm not, and I don't have experience running any sort of a trading card store, I would be focused heavily on trying to figure out, who do I know? Who are the IG influencers? Who are the YouTube people that are big Pokemon folks that can come in and we can wrap an event around it, social around it, and build out the TCG side of CardsHQ. One thing he mentioned, I didn't really understand how this breaks down, but on the live selling side, kind of moving to more solo shows as opposed to, I think, maybe having it all running on one channel so that you can spread out kind of your talent across more hours. I think that's where they're, from a staffing standpoint, when it comes to live selling, and probably on the breaking side as well, maybe what he was talking about is just breaking it up into individual channels instead of just having it all run on kind of the CardsHQ channel. And again, I might be messing this up a little bit, but that does make sense. Maybe having the individual talent kind of having their own channel, building their own community, and actually that's kind of a good way to track performance as well. I mean, if you're trying to figure out, all right, which of these breakers, which of these live sellers is really the most popular? Well, if they each have their own solo channel, then it's very easy to figure out, okay, this person has this many followers, they're, this much revenue, and then you can just track performance based off of solo channels that all tie into the larger one. Again, I'm speaking out of turn here. I am not a live selling breaking person, so maybe I'm missing this, but I thought that was smart, that trying to figure out from a staffing standpoint, how do we maximize live selling and breaking, because it is extremely competitive. Geoff even said there were certain nights, days where they lost thousands of dollars in breaks. And of course, when you think about breaking, you're thinking, man, everyone's just making a truckload of money. He shared here, they had instances where they lost money, just inventory stuff, just mixing it up, and they ended up losing money on breaks, on opening cases. And so really, as we close this out, the biggest challenge, and we've said this all along, when you're trying to scale this thing, is going to be inventory. Just having enough. I mean, if you're looking at $1 million to $2 million of revenues, you're talking about a $15 to $20 million a year business. From a sales revenue standpoint, that is a hell of a lot of cards. And not just like $1 cards. That's a lot of $20 to $500 cards. And so your entire business model really kind of riding on, do you have enough inventory? And he said they still have to buy at card shows. They're still having to go out and find this inventory. So that is going to be the ever evolving kind of challenge for this store, and really any store out there, is can we buy inventory at a good price? And then we got to get it back out and sell it efficiently and make a decent margin while doing so. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What did you think about this episode from the It's Geoff Wilson Show? I thought it was a good watch. Again, whether you like Geoff, don't like Geoff, want the store to fail, want the store to succeed, it's kind of irrelevant. I mean, it's kind of nice to be able to get a view on what a large card shop is doing, strategy around it, some of the numbers involved. I thought it was an interesting watch. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, friends. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will talk to you again later.